There is an ominous, terrible thing happening to the human psyche. So as the dominant species of the planet, we as humans have been gifted with this nifty little thing that we call a brain. Some are gross and wrinkly, and some are smooth and very cute. But unfortunately, there are sinister forces out there that are turning us from ridged ruffles into Lay's chips. But it's not happening instantly the way that a hangover in the morning does. It's been slowly closing in on us over the course of years, like when your friends keep handing you Smirnoff slowly over the course of a night, and then suddenly you realize you're running naked across the interstate. Let me start by telling a little story. I like to think that I'm not a complete idiot, and at least on paper, I was not a complete idiot. As a YC, I was able to do nifty things such as math and spatial reasoning and reading books. Back then, it seemed that my brain was full of boundless possibility and shiny metal parts. But now as an adult, I've begun to notice things. I forget things way more than I used to. I can't focus as easily. I have to constantly remind myself to stay on task, otherwise I will literally forget what I'm doing. I can't read books anymore without feeling mental strain. What the fuck? I used to smoke a novel a day back in middle school. I would literally stay up until like 5 in the morning to finish like a Percy Jackson novel, willingly. I noticed that I started to lose my love of learning. The productive hobbies that I used to enjoy now kind of exhaust me. I noticed that I began to favor static dopamine activities in place of things that were better for me. I became less creative. My childlike whimsy had been stolen from me. Surely my brain was not already deteriorating, right? At the ripe old age of 20. Now you might be asking, well, Taco, maybe you're just an idiot. Is there a possibility that I have had a smooth brain this whole time and I'm only now just beginning to realize it? Could it be possible that I'm just growing up and my childlike whimsy is being swapped out for stage 1 capitalism? Well, yes, but that's a different issue. So here's the thing. Remember when teachers back then told us that our brains are like muscles? Well, it turns out that that shit was actually true. And as a population, it is clear that we have not been hitting the weights. We're dumber than goldfish. Our species has internet access. We have access to guns. And Labubu. ADHD diagnoses in adults is on the rise, whether it be from actual cognitive dysfunction or from perceived deficiency. And most of all, people's tolerance for boredom, delayed gratification, that's an important word, we're going to talk about that later, and patience is waning. Across the board, it's pretty clear that we as humans are losing some of the mental weapons that set us apart from animals in the first place. We are literally turning into Wall-E, but like not like fat Wall-E, like in our brains. Here's a quick passage for anybody who wants some extra info. This is a great book, by the way. It's called The Willpower Instinct. I highly recommend. If it was my son, I would buy it a big family-sized jar of cheese balls. So there are two main big reasons why I think these things are happening. Number one, psychological background.
How do we determine 10,000 feet into a human brain?
Well, back then, and I mean really back then, our ancestors lived in a world of scarcity. That shit that happened in the Croods was real. They were broke as hell. Now, when a species lives in a world of scarcity for an extended period of time, they develop certain behaviors. Namely, we learn the dogshit baseline survival skill known as immediately consuming resources and food the second we find it. Why? Because we had to. Resources were so scarce that our ancestors were literally living the Paleolithic version of paycheck to paycheck. But then, something changed. As we evolved and the prefrontal cortex in our ancestors slowly got bigger and bigger, humans learned how to save. So instead of eating the whole mammoth the moment we found it, we learned to make that mammoth last for a month or two. We suddenly realized that the funny plants that we could eat that we had to walk around originally to look for could be stuffed in the ground in bread. In short, we learned the power of delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is the thing that allowed us to become the dominant species. Delayed gratification is what taught us how to save, how to plan ahead, how to see the big picture. It's what made us smart. If not for delayed gratification, we would not have had the spare time needed to philosophize, invent mathematics, science, and design the rotary engine. God bless the rotary engine. And because of our overwhelming success as a species, we now have access to all the fucking food, water, sex, fireside stories, cave paintings, and dopamine that we could ever want. But here's the thing. That intrinsic instinct that we have, the one that makes us immediately consume resources the second we find them, we never lost that, and it causes problems. We are losing our ability to use delayed gratification because we think we don't need it. The growing notion that if something is not easy, it is not worth getting is absolutely touching us as a society. We built the world that is now making us dumb. How awesome sauce. Here's another quick passage for people who want to read more. This is also a book I highly recommend. It's called Dopamine Nation. If it was my son, I would give him a big jar of creatine. So long story short, our brains did not evolve to handle this level of brain rot. Now, us becoming dumb, while it is partly biological, it is not an accident. So hold on to your horses, because I'm about to get a little bit Daniel Kaluuya Black Mirror on you guys. The second reason, people in power. So, okay, hear me out, okay? Believe it or not, organizations who are in power, who control resources, want us to normalize a society with instant gratification. Why? Because it makes you, the masses and the consumer, easier to manipulate. It's literally an advertiser's dream. Dumb people are easy to convince of anything. I literally fell for it. This is a true story. I saw an AI generated reel one time of a shitty action figure, and it made me want to buy this little 3D printed guy from China. I don't even fucking need this. Why did I buy? Well, it's kind of cool, but like still. Anyways, you potentially losing the ability to think is not completely your fault. The world has been set up by the people in power to push us in that direction. The obesity epidemic in the glorious US of A was the same way in that regard. It was based in a biological need, i.e. the need for sugars and fats, that was vastly overfilled. Corporations profited from it, it got normalized in society, and it took a while for the major effects to wear off. Hell, it's still kind of affecting us today. The idiot epidemic is the same way. People in power are taking advantage of our intrinsic instinct to prefer instant gratification over delayed gratification. For example, the booming popularity in fast food. It's delicious food that is really easy to get a hold of. Within a minute of saying your order, you can get a hot bag of American-made, genetically modified mysterious creature. Another example, streaming service is booming. It's quick, it's easy, and it's not free, but still. So it ain't all your fault. But just like the obesity epidemic, just because something isn't easy for you to do, it does not free you from the responsibility to do yourself a solid and fight the machine. And it certainly does not free you from the consequences that happen as a result of not fighting the machine. We'll talk a bit more in a second about fighting the machine. But first we're going to talk about some specific reasons why this is really, really bad. Why it's pretty shit. Alright guys, now that we know what is happening to our brains and we know why it's happening, I'm going to be going on an absolutely batshit, borderline autism-fueled tirade about why it sucks. And I'll warn you, I'm about to say a lot of heavy things about to think about very quickly, but please keep watching, because I need watch time. And also, if you don't watch the whole video, then this rat is... Hold on tightly, because I'm about to psychologically jerk it crazy style.
What?
So we are dumb. Reason why it sucks, number one, we have become complacent, and we are slowly forgetting how to resist. Our society has tricked itself into letting bad shit happen, and we're at the point now where we're letting ourselves get away with a lot of shit. There are things that are happening and behaviors that are being normalized that should be causing absolute uproars. And unfortunately, this increased complacency in our society has normalized the notion that complaining equals resistance. It does not. Complaining is complaining. Action is resistant. But these days we've gone to the point that people think that voicing your misgivings on Twitter about an issue to farm engagement equates to helping solve the issue. Here's an example. I see people complain all the time about how modern dating culture is pretty shit. But then I'll look a little closer and I'll see that these people are, number one, not trying to make themselves better potential partners, but also they're actively participating in the dating culture that they complain so much about. Complaining about this issue is not going to solve it. Do you know what will? Striving to make yourself a better human being. Here's another example that's a bit more corporate. Do you guys remember back in 2019 when Disney announced that they were pulling all of their content from every other streaming service so they could launch this big piece of shit? And everybody started screaming and losing their minds because they're like, oh my god, this greedy corporation is stealing our content and they're monopolizing it. Well, yes, I do remember a lot of complaining. But remember, complaining is not resistance. Did people boycott the service? No. Did people stop supporting Disney to protest their decision? No. People decided that they wanted their Disney content more than they wanted to really resist. And this is how the people in power get you. They push the limits just enough so that people will grumble and maybe scream and kick a lot, but nobody will actually step up and...
Burbank, USA.
If you want some other quick examples, YouTube used to not have 2 ads behind all of their videos. Nintendo games are now $80 apparently, and people are still buying them. They are very, very careful not to bite off more than they can chew. They bite off just enough so that our tolerance for this kind of stuff goes up. And over years and years, they eventually get what they want and they can do whatever they want without too much of a dent. But here's the thing, stuff like this can be seen at every level, especially politically. But unfortunately, because of normalized complacency, the only time these days that people have mustered enough courage to step up, the only time these days that people have mustered the only time we have started to see real resistance is when things have gotten really, really bad. Okay, enough of the tinfoil hat bullshit. Let's get back to our regularly scheduled societal psychoanalysis. Reason why it sucks number 2. We are losing the ability to form our own opinions. So us being stupid in a society centered around instant gratification means that this extends to information. We no longer feel like we need to work hard to find something that enriches us because information is spoon-fed to us. So because of that, people will parrot information and opinions they see online without checking the validity. And if somebody isn't willing to form their own opinion or check their sources, information and products can just be thrust in our faces and we'll take it at face value, regardless of whether or not it's true. This also causes infighting. Dumb populations are easy to divide and conquer. Historically, a really easy way to control people is to give them something to fight that doesn't actually matter, such as the US government's war on drugs in the 70s, widespread rhetoric against the LGBT community, Nazi Germany's hate against Jews and other minorities, racism and the idea that race is biological. I mean, this is everywhere. Like, teachers do this in elementary school. But, you know, it's a different story when we're talking about the general population. Reason why it sucks, number 3. Things that deserve a reaction are... What did I just say? Things that deserve a reaction are normalized. Complacency coupled with events constantly being stuffed down our throats makes us kind of numb to things that deserve to be cared about. For example, war. Seeing war on our feeds no longer phases a lot of people. We just get really sad. Horrific tragedies. Do you guys remember when Instagram earlier this year suddenly showed everybody videos of people getting killed? But what the fuck was that about? And like, nobody gave a shit. Negative behavioral culture, such as crime culture being normalized, normalization of rape culture and misogyny, porn culture is fucking everywhere. It's appalling. And to be honest, I think these things should be cared about more. I think we should be treating them as bigger issues than just, you know, kind of like laughing them off almost. Wow, that was a lot of negativity. My apologies if you're now shaking in your boots like a chihuahua who just drank a puddle of Red Bull. Let's all take a deep breath. And if you've got a glass of water, then take a drink of that too, because God knows I made some people sweat. But let's switch gears to some hope and meaningful action. And I know, unfortunately, that a lot of people will not take this advice in the long run. But if I can help one person that really needs to hear this, it means that I did a good job. Number 1, filter and curate what gets put into your brain. Curate your For You page to have something other than racism and brain rot. Maybe take a break from short form content as a whole, especially if the stuff on your feed is not providing anything besides bite-sized entertainment. Try putting other shit into your brain. Please read, it's so good for you, I promise. Watch and read the news, and make sure your sources are valid. 2, think. Allow yourself to struggle in creativity. Don't give up on something just because it's difficult. Train your brain to get good at wriggling out of tough situations. Don't AI generate anything, please. Don't AI generate the shit that matters. This means essays, news, research, emotional support, artwork. Unless it's for a joke. But the art of information hunting is slowly being lost because we now have a website that can spit out half-baked information because its sole purpose is to jerk off your ego and your existing opinions. Look at things for what they are. Don't play the political soccer game. Politics is not about teams, and it never was. Don't just parrot what you see, whether it be about relationships, what your favorite car is, how you feel about global conflicts, which is the best low-end alcoholic drink. It's obviously Smirnoff's, there's no other right answer. If someone asks you why you feel a certain way about something, you should be citing your own thoughts and not just what someone said in a reel or on Reddit or on Twitter. And lastly, improve. Actively seek out ways to make that engine run. There are activities and awesome things that you could be doing to stay smart, but people are not doing them. Are you curious about something? Take the time to go on a deep dive and learn more about it. I watched a video about infantry troop movements the other day. I have no interest in joining the military. It was fucking awesome. Find a hobby that challenges you. I'm seeing more people pick up hobbies like gaming and watching YouTube and TV shows in place of creative hobbies that require thinking. And I want to clarify, there's nothing wrong with gaming or watching YouTube or TV shows. There's not. But if you aren't doing anything else, you're not really doing yourself any favors. And also YouTube is good because my videos are on the platform. Read different authors, learn to cook, go work out, play a sport, pick up a language. I have a friend who loves to just learn foreign phonetic scripts because it interests him. There's unlimited ways to learn weird little and often useful little things. Find a nice card hand of hobbies. Bonus points if they're useful or practical. Just learn outside of what's been required by society. It's hard work to live in our current climate. The world low-key sucks right now. I know. There's so many detrimental things happening that it can be really easy to stop caring because it feels like nothing you do will help. But I promise you, the actions you do matter. And depending on what you do, they can matter a lot. I urge you to be responsible for your own thoughts and your own actions and habits, because the moment you let someone else control them, you give up your right. You give up your right to experience life the way that you deserve to. Intelligence is dangerous. So be dangerous. But I was serious about killing the rat if you don't subscribe.